So as everyone's getting ready, welcome. Just make sure that you've kind of got a special space to sit and listen to this call. This is all about reconnect. So rather than doing this while you're rushing around or on the way to the work or doing your dishes, just get your cup of tea, get a cup of coffee, your candles lit. I know Lee's got her candles lit there, and create a bit of a safe space and a connected space to kind of take your call. So we'll just, as everyone gets settled, just a minute or two before we get started, just get your cup of tea, sit down, find your comfort space, and we'll start soon. Lee, do you want to show us your candles so we can see your lovely space?
Yes.
We got a little plant too.
Yeah.
And candles are lovely.
Soft plants everywhere. and some mosquito repellent in case any mozzies come.
Oh,
because they love my blood. So
no mozzies here now. It's getting too cold for mozzies. No mozzies in Canada right now. Cool. So I'll keep my cup of tea, actually. It's what I need right now. So welcome everyone to, this is our first of many monthly calls that we are calling Reconnect with Finding Our Way. So I'm Robin and my colleague Lee. And the whole concept of these calls was around a place to return to each month as a way to kind of connect to yourself. So we're all really busy out there doing stuff, and sometimes it's nice to kind of have a monthly reminder to sit and be with yourself and take care of yourself. So that's kind of our idea. For those of you who don't know, as Finding Our Way, Lee and I set up about 5 years ago. And it's been on and off as we've been traveling the world and doing our own things. So my name is Robin Peel and I live in Fernie, Canada. And Lee, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, and I'm Lee Taylor. Sometimes I'm known as Cherub when I'm in Asia. And at the moment I'm living in Badalona, a little seaside, it's not such a little town, but close to Barcelona in Spain.
Fabulous. So thank you for joining us. And just so you know, this call is going to be recorded and will go on our website later on. So if you need to kind of reconnect to yourself at any time, so not just the first Sunday of the month, these reconnect calls will be on our site as well. And maybe before we do too much talking, I'll just get us to kind of do some breathing to kind of really connect to the space. It's one thing that's really important about these kind of sessions and making time for yourself is just actually bringing yourself back to yourself. So kind of coming into yourself. So Lee will lead us on a short little breathing session.
Okay, so just take a moment. You've been setting up your space, but now really just to set up your internal space and to make yourself really, really comfortable. So sitting very comfortably, if you're on a cushion or on your bed or in a chair, just making sure that you're feeling really rooted and connected, and just making sure that if there's anything that's disturbing you, to make sure that you are comfortable so that your mind is also at ease. And just taking a moment, I'm sitting cross-legged, so I'm placing my hands on my knees. And just taking a moment to put your hand to your heart and just connecting with the heart. And just checking in with yourself and seeing where you are, just for a moment, just making that connection, that really human connection to yourself, honoring yourself for the space and the time that you're carving out for yourself, which is very precious in this day and age when time is so limited and energy is also finite. And really imagining that you have the roots of a tree, so drawing up the sustenance from the earth, really drawing up very strongly, and taking a very deep breath in all the way from the root all the way up to the crown. So breathing in and breathing out through the mouth, and breathing in, breathing out through the mouth, and breathing in and expelling all the stale air through the mouth. And then really just checking in with your body again and seeing, even if there's just a very subtle change, what a big impact just breathing very deeply and becoming very conscious of your breath this is something that's maybe being used so much today and it's becoming really mainstream, but really doing that practice very deeply. We're going to do a short breathing just for a few moments to breathe in and to hold the breath and to expel. And this really helps to calm and settle the mind. It's very useful to do this in the morning before you go off to work or before you start your day, even if you're at work in your chair or in the loo, wherever you have a few moments for yourself. And this is very easy to do. So breathing in, we're going to breathe in for 8. We're going to hold for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to breathe out for 12. And breathing in for 8. Holding for 4. And breathing out for 12. And breathing in for 8. Holding for 4 counts. And breathing out for 12. You can imagine that this is kind of like a balloon. When you're breathing in, filling up the balloon, holding it, and then expelling the air. And you can do that either breathing out through the mouth or breathing out through the nose. Sometimes I find breathing out through the mouth is very useful because you're really expelling that, and it's quite useful to even make a sound when you're doing that. So you're really releasing and letting go. So just coming back to the breath, breathing very normally. Just becoming conscious and checking in again with the body, relaxing the shoulders if there's any tension. Just feeling really rooted, present and aware. And we're going to go over to Robin. We're going to start about just thinking about how we're filling our cup. Maybe we're feeling depleted, in easy ways how we can fill ourselves.
Thank you. So as Lee said, we're kind of, the focus of today is about filling our cup, the focus of this month, I guess, or the first Sunday of the month. And I think it's important for us, those of us going into the autumn season. I was looking outside at the mountains. There's a few little bit of dusting of snow here in Fernie, and the leaves are definitely changing on the tree. And I feel this change from summer is a bit of a time for us to kind of stop and reflect, really, and make sure we are fueled and ready to go into maybe our hibernation mode of winter. And so that's why we kind of chose this topic. I think I guess I'm just thinking about how the best way to talk about what I mean by filling our cup. I think we are human beings who have an amount of energy that we can give. And obviously, if our cup is empty, then we can't give as much as we want to whether that's to our partners or our children or our colleagues or just the general community. And so to me, that kind of the filling of the cup is the kind of the energetic cup. So how are we making sure that we have the energy to do all the things we want to do? And it's really, for me, a thing around consciousness and mindfulness, because I think sometimes we can think we are not sick, therefore we must be full, but actually we could be depleted and not, and just on the verge of sickness or just holding it together or whatever. And so I think there's something around the consciousness of being aware, being mindful of, where am I on my energy levels? Am I feeling great? Am I feeling like I can just give for the rest of the day, or am I feeling that I need to look after myself? And so I'd love to talk to, like, for Lee, what are things that you do that help you care for yourself when life is busy, and how do you fill your cup?
I think the thing that I've moved a lot in my life since a young child. I've hardly ever had a home where I've been settled for more than 2 years. So it's been a very sort of unsettled kind of life. So I think this yearning for being settled is still quite deeply in me. So the feeling of checking in, becoming more and more aware of what you need to make yourself settled, even when there's a lot of turmoil or a lot of busyness going on. And when you're moving around a lot or things are changing a lot, you do get very tired. And I mean, we're all aging, so it definitely helps to check in with yourself. And I think something that really helps me a lot is definitely meditation, and being more finding a place of stillness and calm within yourself, so that you are like the eye in the middle of a storm. And sometimes things get rough, it's like rough seas. I love the ocean, so I always use the ocean as sort of a metaphor. And it's really rough seas, and you need to stay afloat on that. So for instance, today, I didn't sleep very well last night. I had some crazy dreams. We had a very, very busy day yesterday. But then being conscious, becoming aware of, oh, okay, I need a little bit of extra rest today. I need to take care. I have things to do today. So I really need to make sure that I'm not depleted, that I'm not working from a space that's empty. So this morning, very early in the morning, I'm a very early riser, and I did my meditation this morning. And just taking those moments where it is quiet. If you're not a morning person, if you're an evening person, or whatever time works for you, becoming conscious of those little moments, even if it's 5 minutes, just to take that time for yourself. And that's not in a selfish way, that's in a way that's really charging your batteries. We've all got smartphones and things like that, so we know how we need to recharge those phones so that they can work. And we're the same, we need to recharge ourselves. So that was one of the things I did this morning. And another thing I did later on, about an hour ago, is I have the luxury for the first time in a long time to have a bath. So, so I try to reuse my water also. I'm not just going to indulge, but taking that time and really making that a sacred sort of environment. And you can keep that simple. You don't have to, go full out. If it's going to take you a long time to set that up, light your little candle or put some soft music or whatever you need to do. Don't overthink things. Don't make it complicated so that it's another thing for you to have to do. Just go with it and say, okay, I'm taking this time for myself, and take 10 or 15 minutes for yourself and recharge yourself, because that is going to fuel you for the rest of the day and for the rest of the week, and also work as a prevention for you not to get ill. So think of it really in a very pragmatic way. Don't think of it as indulgence. Think of it as really recharging yourself.
Yeah, I think for me, my big thing is being outside. It's a massive part of my refueling is being outside. And it's even this morning, I had a half an hour or so in the garden just digging some earth, although there was a frost last night, so it was quite a lot of hard digging, but it was still nice to be outside. And so for me, it's whether that is in the garden or going for a walk, going for a bike ride, or just sitting outside with a cup of tea. But I think there's something to be really aware of, that it's sometimes not even just the act. So yes, being outside is great for me, but if I'm being outside and I'm also looking at my phone and thinking about things I need to do tomorrow or things that happened last week, that actually isn't fueling my cup. So it's not just the act of doing the thing. It's not just, been outside, tick, now I'm going to be better. So I think it's again around the consciousness of realizing that, if you're doing 3 other things at the same time, so it's the same as meditation. If you're going to sit down and saying, I sat on my mat and I meditated, but actually you were thinking of other things, or you were moving around, or you weren't actually being present in that process, it's not actually probably going to fuel you as much. Same as having a bath. It might just be washing yourself rather than actually being a mindful state.
Definitely. And I think it's this habit, that we feel that we never really have enough time. And I think we've been, in the modern age, people have been talking about it for a long time, even before smartphones or whatever, so much internet and social media and all of these things that are, taking our time or sort of taking our attention rather than our time. We need to be conscious that people have been saying for a long time, I don't have enough time, but we all have the same 24 hours a day. So it's really just to take those moments and not to beat yourself up about, I didn't meditate for half an hour, so I'm bad. Even if you sat for 1 minute, it doesn't matter, because you've taken that minute to charge yourself, or whatever it is, doing your yoga or doing your walk or having your cup of tea or coffee in a mindful way. It's the incremental changes that then, it's like the drops that fill the bucket. So not beating yourself up about that. Robin can tell us a bit about the shoulds and the can'ts.
The could. shoulds and the kids. Well, I think it's really, I mean, I always talk about put down the stick, because I think, again, we are very hard on ourselves. And that doesn't help with the filling of the cup if at the same time we're telling ourselves we're not doing enough, because that's just going to deplete. The filling of the cup requires that mindful, energetic filling. And that can't be done at the same time that you're saying, oh, I should have done something else instead. I mean, that's just not going to work, really. And I think it's really important that even a part of it is sometimes even knowing how to fill the cup is just being mindful you have a cup. Like, sometimes we go through life and we haven't even sat down and said, how am I feeling? So maybe the first step is just realizing we all have a cup. And at this moment, where am I? Am I at 100%? Am I at 50%? Am I at 0? And then starting with the ideas of what are the ways that I can fill it. And I think it's very much about, again, it's how can I fill it? It's not these are the 5 things that will fill your cup and make you feel better. I mean, we are such individual humans. And even maybe one day being in the garden is the right thing for me, but the next day it isn't, because actually that's not what I need. I need to be talking to people, I need to be energized, I need to be engaging, I need to be in my community. So each of those things, it's the mindfulness of the cup, and in that moment, what do I need right now? And not just doing the thing that you think you should do. Again, there's the should. The thing you should do or someone's told you will make you feel better, really.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think you've really touched on a very important point that, because life is busy and, we have such a lot going on, such a lot of things that require our attention, and also that we choose to give our attention to. I mean, there's also that we choose to give our attention to. So, but then finding, if you find that, if you're doing something, sort of more traditional, or filling yourself like yoga, or, whatever you're doing, if you're journaling, or whatever fills you, or going for a walk, or, something like a very stimulating conversation, or a very healing conversation, or whatever you're doing, to be conscious of what you need at what time. Sometimes if meditation isn't the thing, sitting there and berating yourself for half an hour or 20 minutes or 10 minutes because you can't settle your mind is maybe not so useful. It might be useful to notice where you are. That's always useful, to notice that you're not being present and you're not being mindful. So it's still fulfilling the purpose. But then, changing it up and going for a walk. You can still go and have a mindful walk, or be attentive while you're doing something else, or making a meal, making your breakfast in a mindful way. It's not, we don't have to get stuck on the action and the activity. We can play, we can be creative with what we're doing. So I think the gist of it is, don't get stuck on one idea. The point is to relax and be more at ease with whatever you're doing.
And kind of going forward, we're about to get in the next few minutes, we'll go into a bit of a meditation to think about, for each of us individually, what are the things that help us feel. But there's one thing I want to share from yesterday. There was a local craft fair, and so I went along yesterday, and I had to stop myself from buying everything, because everything was so beautiful, and everything's handmade by these people who are standing behind us. So you're talking to the maker, which is always lovely. But there are 2 things that I'm bought that actually for me is around a mindful act. So this filling my cup is actually looking at something beautiful that someone's made and saying, this is beautiful, thank you, I'm going to take it home with me. So there's that kind of act of even just filling my cup by having that conversation and acknowledging the beauty in this thing that I have. And then there's actually the act of using it, and then thinking of that person when I'm using it, or just the specialness of this item. So yesterday I bought a pottery bowl that I'm looking forward to having my breakfast in every day. So so every day I have breakfast, I am filling my cup and finding the beauty in the thing I'm having it in. I know I can probably have that from an IKEA cup too, or an IKEA mug or bowl, but for me it doesn't have the same feeling. The filling of my cup is the act. And then I bought this beautiful hand cream by this woman as well that I just put on just before, and it smells amazing. So the act of doing that is, there's the act of caring for myself, but also knowing that through that I have the love of someone else. I've now got their thing that they cared about that I'm now looking after too. So for me, I just want to share that I think it can sometimes be a bigger thing than the act itself, but the connection with all the things that you're doing.
Beautiful Thanks for sharing.
So let's just take a few minutes. We've kind of got about another 10 minutes or so before we finish off today. And I think Lee and I have been talking about what fills our cups, but now it's important for you to think about for yourself, maybe for the next week, what you'll be doing to fill your cup. Because again, we can't say this is going to be forever. So what do you need right now? So we'll just close our eyes, and we're going to do a short little get back to ourselves rather than Lee and I talking. So again, getting comfortable, closing your eyes, hands in the lap or hands on your knees, wherever's comfortable for you. And bring yourself to your breath. Observe the ins and outs of the breath, whether it be shallow, quick, slow, deep, whatever it is. Just to acknowledge where it is now and try not to change it. Just acknowledge it. Maybe just take a few deeper breaths to kind of get back to this full, beautiful body of yours that's sitting wherever it's sitting. And bring to mind a time, may have been recent, maybe long ago, where you felt yourself energetically full, where the heart felt big, where you felt ready to give. You felt as though, sunshine was coming out of your being because it was just you were glowing with the energy and the fullness. And if nothing comes to mind, then think, what would that feel like? See if you can bring that feeling to your mind's eye right now, that feeling of beaming light coming from within to outside. And from that place of full and happy and joyful and sharing, with that feeling inside, this feeling of fullness, not a lack of, what are the things that you need to be doing to get more of that? Just sit quietly with that, see what comes with it. Now, don't bring up the stick at the same time and think, oh, I haven't done that for a long time. Just acknowledge, what are the things that could fill your cup? Is it going for a walk, drawing a picture, talking with a friend, skinny dipping in the ocean, hiking in the mountains, dancing in the rain, having an afternoon nap, making a meal from your garden, making a meal for someone else? Keep taking deep breaths and listen to the whispers or the yelling or whatever comes from within. And whatever comes up, take it into your heart. Maybe put a hand over your heart or both hands over your heart and really feel in your body this yearning or this need for these acts that help you fill your cup. Really take them in personally to feel them within yourself. And then commit to yourself. What one of those acts are you going to do within the next 24 hours? What one of those acts are you going to do within the next week? And maybe a number of acts that you want to do within the next month to help you fill your cup. And know that it's right here in your heart and in your body, and your knowing is always here when you need to return to it about what you need. So one final breath in, big breath out. And when you're ready, just open your eyes. And I guess my request to you might be, maybe straight after this, is journal those things so you don't, keep them alive. Draw them, or maybe there's an embodiment of it. How do you leave the room now with this feeling inside you of the things that you need, and how do you embody that as you go forward. And so to finish off, for those of you who have worked with Lee and I before, we have cards, various cards with words on them related to our energy, action, sorry, clarity, energy, action, integration. So I'm just going to pull a card for us to finish with today. Then Lee will finish with us with the breathing. I'll close my eyes. I don't know what I'm going to pick, that what I feel we all need to hear today. And this is the one that came up. Let go. It's interesting, filling the cup and putting down the stick. So thank you all. I'll let Lee finish us off with a breathing to finish the session, this reconnect session, and we hope to see you next month. So it's the first Sunday of every month will bring us back to reconnect. So thank you.
So I think in the spirit of the card that we've just drawn, the let go, really when you're breathing in, just really nourishing every cell of your whole being, just really taking that energy and imagining that every single pore of your body or every cell of your being is being filled, energetically restored. So taking a deep breath in, and then as you're breathing out, just imagining like water off a duck's back, just it all rolling off, any kind of tension, any kind of stress, just. We're going to do that another 3 times. So breathing in, nourishing all the cells, breathing out, and let go. And breathing in, nourishing every cell of the whole being, breathing out, emptying out, letting go. As we're taking in the last breath in, we're going to breathe out through the nose when we're letting go, just expelling everything that doesn't serve us. Breathing in and breathing out. May you all be happy and well, and go ahead feeling energized, rejuvenated, and restored. See you next time.
Thank you, everyone.